You're listening to Small Business Talk with Jerry. Sit in on great conversations with entrepreneurs who risk everything chasing the American dream.
Hello, everybody. Small Business Talk with Jerry. I'm Jerry. We're back again. Today we have Isaiah here. He is going to introduce himself real quick.
Thank you for having me. My name's Isaiah Syverson. I'm the owner of Syverson Pressure Washing, located in Rochester, Minnesota.
Great. How long have you been in business?
This is our first year, so about 7 months.
Okay. So why pressure washing? What drew you to that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. The reason I chose pressure washing is because I used to do construction sales for 2 years. So we'd go door to door and we'd help people get like new roofs, siding, windows, gutters. And it was a lot of like storm work. So like usually they're only paying like their deductible. So for example, I had a homeowner, they wanted all new windows and they wanted to sell their house. Well, windows are expensive. And so it was like, I think we got her like, it was like $90,000 for windows, but she only paid $1,000. And awesome. So for me, that makes me feel really good being able to help people, and like they were happy, they were able to sell their home for more money and just bringing value back to the community. But I had noticed in sales, I wasn't giving the credit that I was deserving of for like the hard work I put in.
Sure.
And I always just kind of knew that I wasn't meant to work for someone else. And so my whole idea was, I was like, well, I still want to help people. How can I help my community, help bring curb appeal back, and like help people feel positive about their house, like when they come home for a long day? And I was doing research and I was like, pressure washing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can help people restore their curb appeal for literally 90% cheaper, and it's going to look almost as brand new.
Sure. Yeah.
Instead of spending $25,000 on a new roof, or $30,000 on siding.
Yeah. Yeah. So now when we pressure washing, but is that all you do is pressure washing, or do you like soft washing or any of that kind of stuff? Yeah, so we do pressure washing and soft washing. Okay. So we do we do concrete, siding, interior and exterior windows, roof, gutters, and then we'll do like composite, like that Trek decking. Yep. Wood decking, we'll do fences, vinyl. So if I'm paranoid of pressure washers, right? Destroying my fence or whatever. So you come in and you can soft wash. Yeah. Either way. Yeah. Okay. And what we use for that is, especially like on vinyl siding or just like more delicate surfaces, we use a chemical called sodium hypochlorite. Okay. And so what that does is it kills all the organic growth. So like moss, dirt, lichen, all of those things. And we mix the chemical to the ratio to make sure one doesn't harm plants, doesn't harm your siding, doesn't harm the environment around it. And then How is it for pets?
It's pool chlorine, essentially, is the best way I would describe it to people. Okay. So it's relatively safe. It's not toxic.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, because that's, a lot of us have dogs. And, and they're like our kids.
Yes, 100%. You got to make sure you take care of those,
You do. And then like here we have daycare, we had, so that, what do you do? How did you get started? I mean, you're young, right?
24.
24. Yeah. All right. Good for you.
Thank
Congratulations.
You,
It's a lot to take on as a young guy.
It is.
So what was your first step? I mean, do you come from a family of entrepreneurs or?
Kinda. So I've had a family that own their own businesses, but they don't really like owning their own business. So I can't really say that that's what pushed me to be the entrepreneur. I just kind of always knew I couldn't work for someone else.
Right.
But my first step was just researching, really digging in, like the late nights of, okay, what do I all need for equipment? How does this equipment work? What's the best equipment? And so I started like researching that. And then once I started researching that, then it gets into, okay, what chemicals do I use?
Right.
Because like sodium hypochlorite is great for organic growth. But say you have like oil removal, or like you have on a driveway, or you have rust or tar marks or anything like that on a different surface, that uses different chemicals.
Sure.
So like we also specialize in graffiti removal, soot, rust, oil, tire marks.
Okay.
And so I was really like doing the research on those, and then I ended up taking a course that I found, and I ended up getting certified as well to make sure that I really knew what I was talking about.
Sure. So well, I'm sure. I mean, it'd be easy to damage property.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
If you're not careful, yeah.
Yeah. And so then I'm sure you have to be insured for that.
Yep.
So, that's...
Fully insured, commercial and residential, because we do both.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it just yourself?
Yep, it's just me.
Awesome. So what did you have to buy? What kind of investment did you, not necessarily dollars, but what did you have to do to get ready? I mean, equipment wise.
Yeah, so a lot of people like to think that you can just go to Home Depot, and buy a pressure washer. You'll pull it, you'll reel it up, and you're like, okay, I'm here.
Yep, here I go.
But there's actually a lot more that went into it. And before I started, I didn't realize how much more actually went into it if you want to do it professionally and you want to do it right. So the van, I was looking for a cargo van. Because I'm like, we're in Minnesota. So usually a lot of people do trailers or trucks. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we're in Minnesota, and I don't have a place to store it. So I'm like, I want to make sure my equipment stays contained. So I was looking for a cargo van. Well, cargo vans are so hard to find. So I think for like the next month or 2 months, I was just on Facebook Marketplace, scrolling, looking at vans, and I had a budget in mind. I'm like, okay, I don't want to spend more than $10,000.
Sure.
Well, I was scrolling through Marketplace, and I saw this cargo van. It was a 2019 Dodge ProMaster 2500, and it was for $9,600. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I looked. Lake Bluff, Illinois.
Oh, no.
So I got me and some of my friends together, and I was like, hey, guys, you want to take a road trip with me? We're going to go to Lake Bluff, Illinois, there and back, same day. So it ended up being 13 hours round trip. And so we drive to Lake Bluff. We get there, and I'm looking at this van, and it's a lot bigger than I thought.
Yeah,
and the way the dealership is kind of like one of those ones where you're like, is this kind of a reliable dealership,
Well, that's a long ways to drive on a $10,000 van that you don't know anything about.
Yeah. And so I was really just kind of trusting the guy from when we had talked, and we had got there, and my friends are really good with vehicles, and I had it taken to a mechanic, and it was sound. I mean, there was no rust. It was in really good condition. I ended up buying it, and then we're driving on our way home. There's no cruise control. I didn't know that. And I tore my hamstring back in December when I was training martial arts. And so just having my hand on the gas, I'm like, oh my Lord. But we finally got it back. And then once I got it back, I had looked and it was just dirty. So I ended up scrubbing everything, cleaning the entire interior. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to have chemical that I'm going to have, and it can rust. And so I ended up taking the bed liner, the Hercules bed liner. Yep. Ended up sanding the entire bottom myself and the sides, and I applied the coating.
On the inside.
On the inside of the van, yep.
Smart idea, yep.
All the way, basically about halfway up. So the van floor and then halfway up the walls. I coated that entire thing, and then I ended up looking, and at the time I bought my equipment from a guy in the cities. And he was talking to me, and we were kind of talking about what we wanted, back and forth. And fun fact, the equipment that I have is actually the most expensive part of what I have. And so we got the equipment put in, and then we ended up wrapping it. But yeah, it was I think it was from January, I'd say about from January all the way to the first week of March. Okay. We were getting the van ready and things like that.
A lot of prep and getting a business, especially when it's hands-on. You've got equipment to work with, and you got to get out and practice a little bit too. I mean, you don't just buy the van, put some equipment in it, and then put an ad out.
Exactly.
Wait for the phone to ring. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta play it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, and knowledge is just part of it. A little muscle memory. You got to get in there and work it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you were 2 months basically, and you were up and running. I mean, you're ready to be up and running.
Yeah, I'd say 3 months. I mean, because I had this idea last June.
Okay.
So I've really been planning it now for about a year.
Okay.
And my goal was to hard launch it January 1st of this year, 2025, which I ended up doing. But yeah, I ended up planning it all the way through the preparation from June until January was just insane. But we got it prepped, and I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Okay, we're going to launch it. It's ready to go. We're going to launch it. And it was definitely very nerve-wracking, leaving a job where you're guaranteed income.
I was going to say, that was my next question is this a part-time business, or is this full-time?
This is full-time.
So this is your job.
This is my job. Okay. This is my livelihood. This is my baby, essentially.
You. Yeah. Good for you.
And the one thing is no one really tells you how scary it is to start your own business and to leave a job where where I was getting a pretty nice salary.
Right.
And to then just all of a sudden you're jumping ship. You've now taken out about $40,000 in loans for your equipment and everything, and then you still got the marketing where you got to buy the chemicals, the business cards, all of that, and then you got to make sure that you market it correctly. Right. So making sure that I need to market, I need to network. There's all these businesses and kind of how to do it. No one told me that or kind of explained it, so it's kind of this trial and error. Yeah. But I was lucky enough to doing the door-to-door sales. So I did my first year in 2022. for a company.
Okay.
And it was all cold calling. We got no warm leads. And so any referrals
That's brutal.
Yeah. So any like inbound leads you got, you were knocking doors. It was your own like referral system.
That's a brutal way to make a living. I have a lot of respect for you guys because that's not my realm at all.
It definitely. I didn't think it was my realm either. I mean, I've always loved sales. I did sales at like Costco. I was their top credit card salesman in the Midwest. I did their e-blocks. I did car sales. And I was like, but door-to-door sales, that's a whole different beast that like no one prepares you for.
Well, it's different when people, the big difference is when your phone rings or someone walks in your door, you're in my house.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
When I have to go knock on a door, it's like, pass.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to tell you, it's like, and I don't believe for 1 second that I'm better than anyone else.
No,
I'm not
of course.
saying, I'm just like, you want to talk about comfort level.
Yeah.
You know, if I have to go door to door to eat and to feed my family, to take care of things, well, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But it will be last on my list.
100%. I get it.
You know what I mean?
I completely. And the reason I feel with that is because I've been on my own since I was 17 years old, really. But going like door to door, I was like, oh, I actually enjoyed it at first. You know, I mean, I've had some really nasty people. I've had people try to like spit on me. I've had people just yelling the most profound, vulgar like words at me, yelling, screaming. One guy like opened up his window and was like flicking me off as I was walking away, and then like would go to each room of the house. And I mean, it got to a point where like
to what end? I mean,
I'm like, we're both human here.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's all you need. Like, I'm human, you're human. You know, we just treat.
I mean,
each
if
other
I say
with
no
respect.
thanks when you stick your foot in the door, okay, well then maybe
Then we got an issue.
we got a problem. But it's like I don't see you being the guy that pushes his way into the window.
No,
you know?
I usually And so we ended up doing that, and I ended up doing really well. For there, I ended up within like the first year, I did like 1.6 in sales, 1.6 million in sales. Well, I ended up not seeing any of that commission. So, and then they had cut my commission from 7% to 2.5% because they went public. And so they ended up cutting it, and I was like, oh, like I was on my way to be a national sales trainer for them. And I was like, hey, let's talk about this. And they were like, well, since we're restructuring the company, let's get back in like 6 to 8 months and we can revisit this. And I was like, never mind. So then I handed in my 2-week notice, got into another company. They were more local, and I was doing canvassing for them, like as their manager. So I was starting this canvassing program from the ground up and then integrated it into a pre-existing sales system. So like I helped Kim up with the pay structure, the hiring, the firing, the SOP, expectations, what times they're going to work. I mean, everything.
Good.
And I also started helping them with like marketing videos. So like we make really funny videos. And that's when I really started to kind of find, okay, this is how this marketing and networking works, and to like really build a platform for yourself on social media.
Sure.
And as I did that, and like as it went on, again, I didn't get the credit that I was deserving of. And so I was like, I'm not going to be doing this. And so that's when I got into the pressure washing, and I was like, okay, I want to still be able to help people, but on my terms.
Right.
I want to be able to do it on my terms. Like if I can put this much effort into someone else's business, what can I do for myself if I do this same drive?
Right.
And my goal was, when I started this business, is after door knocking for 2 years, like you said, it's the last thing on my list that I want to do.
Right.
Is door knock. And so my whole thing when I started this was like, okay, I don't want to door knock. So I need to learn how to like market properly and like advertise and network, and because the last thing I want to do is door knock.
Right. Well, and it's when you talk about giving back or helping. I mean, that's kind of where small business talk. You and I started talking about this a little bit off air, and I said, this is good content. Let's chat about this. But I've said this before in the podcast, and so I don't know if you've watched any yet or not.
Not yet, no.
Okay, but the goal for Small Business Talk with Jerry, the real goal for this is, I mean, I have multiple businesses of my own. I've been very fortunate over the years. Yeah. But I get a lot of folks that, well, just this last week, a friend of mine, he called, he's got a job, he makes good money, and he says he wants to get into his own. Yep. He wants to detail, do some tints, and wrap cars. Yeah. And he's like, I need some advice, because he said, it's hard to just dip your toe in the water and expect to be successful. Yeah. But he said to just literally walk away from, and he kind of told me what he makes. Yeah. I was like, that's a good income. He goes, but like your experience, it's a company. The company got bought out. He's not happy with the new management, and they've made some serious changes to him. Yeah. Not necessarily his pay, but the way he operates. Oh, and it's like, and he's not a fan. Which I get. It's like, he's my age, so he's an old man. but he's used to it his way.
Yeah.
And it's always worked.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're bringing in money. You see that.
Yeah.
So you see the profits you're bringing in, and then to not get credit for it, and then take things away that make it harder to do.
Yeah.
And then still be expected to make that production. Yeah. And so we were talking about, how do we transition from part-time, from working a full-time job with security, that I don't like, into working for myself, but how do I bridge that gap if you don't have a healthy nest egg sitting?
Yeah.
And well, like you said, you borrow $40,000.
Yeah.
That's, for starting a business, that's pretty modest.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you can say, I would say there's a lot of businesses that are very just impossible to start on $40,000.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But like I say, that doesn't mean $40,000 is not a lot of money.
Yeah.
Especially 24 years old. I don't want to keep picking on you.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's different when you're 20. Well, hopefully, it's different when you're 24 to raise $40,000 than it is when you're 48.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Hopefully,
right,
that's the goal.
Yeah. Let's hope when you're 48, that's not a big deal. You know. But right now it is.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, we talked about this quite a bit. Well, back to the goal of Small Business Talk with Jerry, is to bring in guys like yourself. Young guy just getting started. I want to hear your story. Then I want to bring in old guys like me that have been doing it for 3 decades.
Yeah.
I've got all kinds of horror stories. I've got all kinds of fantastic, heartwarming stories. I've got some fun stories. And I've got some embarrassing stories.
Yeah.
And they're all over the board. After 30 years, I've got everything. There's different kinds of stories. But if you're on the fence, you had mentioned this again off camera. You had mentioned that when these guys are, on the fence and they're trying to decide what to do. Now, my phrase is, I couldn't give two shits if you start your business or if you don't.
Yeah.
And that's not being rude. It's not that I don't care about the person.
Yeah.
But if you're going to work a job or you're going to own a business, that's on you.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Now, if you're sitting on the fence, you're not sure what to do. Do I take the plunge? If you watch or listen to our podcast, and they hear your stories, they hear my stories, we've got over 40 episodes already.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Right. I mean, a lot of experience, a lot of people, a lot of great stories, a lot of heartwarming stories, tear-jerking stories, infuriating stories. Yeah. But if you can listen to all those and it helps you make up your mind, then that's my goal.
Yeah.
And like I said, when I say I don't mean to be rude, and it's not that I don't care about the person. Yeah. But I don't care if you start the business or not. Yeah. I want you to do what's best for you.
100%. Yes.
And not all of us are meant to be entrepreneurs. Not all of us are meant to be W-2 employees. Yeah. And there's no shame in either one. So don't, and that's a hard part. Some of my friends are always like, I want to think about doing this, and then if it doesn't work, they're like, I'm really sorry. It's like, don't tell me you're sorry. I'll help you however I can. Yeah. With advice or whatever I can do. Yeah. Or just stories. I'll tell you experiences. Maybe not necessarily advice, but stories. And maybe give you a little heads up on something you haven't dealt with that I have. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you decide that being an entrepreneur is not for me, I'd much rather have you decide that before you're $40,000 in debt, or 400,000 in debt, or a half a
million,
whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Figure that out. Don't apologize. Just make sure you do your due diligence. Do the research so that you know that when I put that next step forward, it's the right foot. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's why I say, don't take I don't give two shits if you start a business as a bad thing.
No, I don't.
I just mean I want you to do what's best for you. Yeah. And if you just jump in with both feet on a business that you shouldn't have jumped into, then you should say you're sorry. Yeah. But that's to you and your family, not to me.
Yeah, 100%. And for you, I think when you say you don't give two shits about it, it's not that you don't give two shits. It's the fact that whether they start their business or not doesn't affect you, but you still want to help them succeed. Right. They just have to be the ones to take that jump.
Yeah, but success doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be an entrepreneur. Yep. Yeah. That success may mean that, you're able to just make good money, and you keep moving in your company. You invest your money. You're able to take care of your family. You're able to retire. You don't have to work till you're 90. Yep. That's success.
It's different for everyone.
It is different for everyone. Yes. So that's exactly. It's like don't apologize to me. It's not going to affect me. Yeah. You're absolutely right. So but I thought if we can, and I'm not so arrogant as to think that I have all the answers. Yeah. So it's like Small Business with Jerry. It's me. But it's not all me. It's I get to talk every time. Yeah. But I get to meet guys like you, and which, by the way, nice to meet you, as today was our first time. Yeah. So we chatted a little bit on email, but so it was really nice to meet you today.
Yeah, this was great.
But I just thought, if I can bring in the experience of all these other people, it's not about listening to me, it's about listening to you guys.
100%. Yeah.
So one of my favorite questions, and I say this every time, it's like a broken record, but and you've only been doing this for a few months, so you may not have this story yet, but I'm going to ask, is there anything that you've, somewhere along the way, you've made a decision where you're like, yeah, this is the next big thing. This is a guarantee. This is a lock. And then you get into it and you're like, what was I thinking? Yeah. Has that happened yet?
It has.
It has. I shouldn't sound happy about that. But but let's hear the story.
Yeah,
I love these stories.
Getting so when I first ended up, I like to say getting over my head is the biggest thing. It was my van. I didn't really know like what I was getting into, like to get everything put together. And I think the biggest thing that when I got over my head, when I was like, oh, this is going to work out, and then things just kind of crumbled, was figuring out a system. Figuring out I need a point of sale system. I need something to send estimates. I want it to look professional, right? Like if I want people to take me professionally, I need to start looking professionally.
Notebook paper with orange crayon, right?
Yeah. Sweat marks just going down like, oh, I just finished on this hot day. Here's your thing,
Right. It smells like pool chloride.
Yeah. So I was like, that was the biggest thing. And honestly, my biggest thing where I was like, I was in over my head was my first job. I actually did it for a realtor. She had a house on the market in Byron. And she was like, hey, Isaiah, I've got a showing actually in like 2 days. Can you come and wash it? Oh, and it was kind of like last minute. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, okay, I can do it. So I go in.
Well, you're young. I don't mean young. I just mean as a business. You're young. Yeah. You don't say no.
No, I mean, you can't.
You have to really know you can't do the job to say no.
Yes, 100%.
Yep.
And I've always been one too where it's like if I don't know it, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Like when I bought my house back in 2021. I was always that guy where I'm like, oh, I'm going to hire someone to do my like repairs. And then once I bought it, I was like, okay, YouTube,
Yeah, right.
Just to like learn it. But my biggest, back to the job again, is there was a lot of serious like algae growth on the north side of the house, which is where a lot of the algae grows. Right. Just because of like the sun and the mildew and the heat. And I was there and I didn't really know how the rig worked too well. And as I'm pulling it out, my hoses
is the first job?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first
My first actual like pressure washing job. Yep. And the hoses are getting all tangled. I don't know which size like wand to use. I'm having trouble, and I'm just getting so frustrated. Yeah. And I mean, what was supposed to take me maybe an hour took me like 4. The sun's setting and hoses all over. But then as I'm getting there, like, okay, and like the organics weren't coming off. And I was like, oh, like, why isn't it coming off? And then at the other point too, I'm like, well, I don't want to let it sit too long on the house because I don't want to damage the siding. Right. Like, it's my first job. I don't want to like botch it, the first day. So
have a claim the first time out, virgin voyage.
And as we're going, and all of a sudden my pressure washer like stopped working for some reason. There was like some air in my hose lines for my chemical injector, and everything's just. And I'm like, I got to a point where I was thinking, I was like, is this really for me? Like, am I really cut out for this? Like, just like it was stressful. Yeah. But what was great is I took a step back and I was like, okay, let's tackle this, let's just tackle, like, what's the problem here? Yep. So then I went...
One problem at a time.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to where the guy who sold me the equipment, he said, hey, you can call me every once in a while if you need help. So I called him up, and he's like, hey, check if there's air in the lines. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I checked. We got those cleared, and then the process started working nice. And I got to a point where, like, halfway through, I was like, I just want to give up. I just want to quit. Like, I'm stressed out. I'm overloaded, like, emotionally, like, I'm done with this. And then once we finished it, the house, the realtor shows up the next day for the showing. She loved it. It was beautiful. It was shining. And when I heard that, it was kind of like a...
Right.
And I was like, okay, this is why I do this.
It validates the work you put in and the efforts and the research you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like I've had another one where I was on a job site and I'm pressure washing and I'm cleaning and all of a sudden there was less pressure coming out of my hose. And I'm like, why is there no water? Well, then I look, my hose got a hole in it. And my hose is going all over the yard and it's just cranked. And I'm like, oh, I got to turn this off. And my pressure washer is 4,000 PSI at 8 gallons a minute. That's a pretty intense pressure washer,
Move some water, yeah.
And so it's just flying all over. The homeowners are laughing. Like from the window, I see them like see me chase the hose. And so luckily I had extra hose by this time. I was like kind of more like, okay, I just need extras. But it was one of those things too where it kind of like it sets me back. Or there's sometimes I'll do a job and it's way more than what I thought the work would be. Yep. So like I underprice it obviously. And that's the biggest learning curve too that people don't realize.
Price a 2-hour job and then spend 5 on it.
Yeah. Yep. And then again, it's kind of, you get upset but you just have to take it as a learning experience.
Right.
Like,
Don't
okay,
do it
hey,
again.
don't do it again, and now I know how to do this more efficient. And like,
Yep.
the biggest thing is just learning from your mistakes and how to do better and like really step back.
Right. Well, and you know what? For me, I've always said, you know, talking with my kids especially, it's like if you get it right the first time,
Yeah.
pat yourself on the back, right? Call yourself lucky, whatever you want to do. But the one thing I'll guarantee you is if you get it right the first time, you didn't learn anything.
100%.
You know, you didn't learn a thing.
Yep.
When you have those struggles, now, when you realize you're not cut out for being an entrepreneur and being the boss, is when you're on your fifth go of the same problem and you haven't changed anything.
Yes, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Then it's like, maybe I'm not the guy.
Yeah, maybe I'm not the one that should be doing this,
right,
you know?
Right, you know. But when you run into those problems, the problems aren't what define you.
Yeah.
It's the fact that next week or next month when you find that same problem, you aren't confused. It doesn't take an extra 3 hours anymore. You take care of it. You problem solve. You know, I like to tell everybody that I mean, you're from Minnesota, so if anybody, your family ever have a boat, you know, the going joke is always, you know, the two happiest days for a boat owner is the day you buy it and then the day you sell it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. My analogy to business as an entrepreneur, the two best days, or the best day, the worst day, I should say, as an entrepreneur. The worst day is you're only 7 months into your business, and yesterday, Friday, whatever, last day of work, you probably had a problem of some sort. Something popped up, right?
Yep.
Monday, when you go back to work, tomorrow, something's going to pop up, right? 6 months from now, 6 years from now, 16 years from now, there's going to be a problem.
Always.
It's going to come up, right?
Yeah.
And the day that you truly wrap your head around that as an entrepreneur, it sucks.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just, it's defeating. You know, it's very defeating, and you mentally have to overcome that.
Yeah.
But the best day as an entrepreneur, in my opinion, is whether it's a week from now, again, a month from now, 10 years from now, is when you have one of those days where you have a problem that just beats you down. Yeah. And you want to give up. I mean, you opened this door for this.
Yeah, 100%.
You said I was ready to give up.
I'm all for it, yeah.
And you're just ready to give up.
Yeah.
And you have to look at this going, you know, it just sucks because day 1 there was a problem. Day 10 there was a problem. Year 5 there was a problem. The problems never quit coming. No matter how experienced you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how ambitious you are, the problems evolve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? They're just
100%.
Right. They're like a vaccine, right? I mean, the disease evolves and the vaccine has to change.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in business. But the best day is when you're having that moment where you're starting to feel defeated again.
Yeah.
And then it really sinks in that, you know, the problems have never stopped coming the whole time I've been an entrepreneur. Yeah. But you look over your shoulder, look in the rearview mirror, and you go, I've beat them all, and I'm still here. Yes. So what tomorrow's problem is going to be something new, something different, but it's not going to be that different. Yeah. Right? I mean, 100%. I've gotten through, again, looking at, you guys hear these inspirational, motivational guys say, you never look behind you. The hell you don't. Yeah, look behind you. That's how we got here.
Exactly. You can't forget where you came from. Right. Otherwise, that's what a lot of people lose sight of, that where they forget where they came from. Right. And then they completely forget everything, and that just doesn't work. Yeah. You got to look back every once in a while and be like, wow, I've come a long way, and you need to acknowledge that growth that you've had. And if you haven't had that growth, then you've got to take a step back and be like, okay, like something's not right here, like you were saying. Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you're on that 5th time with the same problem, you're not treating it any different, you're still struggling with it, you need to reflect on that a little bit. It's like, and can that be fixed? Can I, there's a lot of owners that don't know their business. Yeah. I mean, how many, I'm telling you, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I know a lot of owners that couldn't walk into their company, and I couldn't just go take Bob's job. Go do Bob's job for a day. Yep. And then tomorrow I'm going to take Sarah's job, do it for a day. Yep. And most of these owners are like, I write, I sign the paychecks. That's the biggest thing. I sign the paychecks. I don't have to do it. Yeah, I don't do it. I don't. I don't know how to pressure wash. I can own a pressure wash company. Yeah. And as long as I've got 12 guys that pressure wash, and I've got 12 vans, because I can't make enough money if I just have one guy. Yep. But if I can get 12 going, well, now I don't ever have to wear a pair of pullovers. Yeah, pullovers, rain boots. Yeah.
Right, rain boots. I don't need a coat. Right. You have a problem, call me. Yeah. And I'll coach you from afar, or I'll get somebody out there that knows what they're doing, because I don't have to know it.
And I've never liked that. That whole style of I don't. It's not even leadership at all. When people really try to say it. Yeah. leading to me is you lead by example. Yeah. So I'm a big believer in like, say like when I do have employees, like when I manage the canvassing team, I'm a big believer in I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I can't or won't do. And that's why like I really want to start off my business just me. Yep. I want to know the ins and outs. I want to know how to work my equipment, my machines. So then like say a guy calls in sick or like they need help on a job site. Instead of them calling me and me trying to walk them through it, I'm going to be like, okay, yep, I'm going to be right there with you. Give me 10 minutes to get to the job site, and we're going to work through this together to let them know they're not alone.
Right. But there's also another avenue around that, which you're going to find out. You're in a physical job.
Yeah.
And you're 24.
Yeah.
Good for you. When you own that company and you're 54.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 54.
Okay.
And so there are all kinds of things now in my companies that I've always had that same attitude.
Yeah.
I want to know how everything works. I want to be in charge, and I'm a control freak. So that so that is a bit of a mental disorder that makes me want to know what everybody's doing and how to do it. So I could step in.
Yeah.
But at 54, there's jobs within my businesses that I'm like, I'm not built for that anymore. And I had health issues, things like that where it's like, so then you have to step back a little bit and go, okay, I'm not going to be there in 10 minutes because I can't do that job anymore. You know? And of course, I mean, it's probably 70% don't want to and 30% really shouldn't, or can't.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, let's not lie to anybody. It's still a majority of don't want to.
Yeah, 100%,
yeah. But at the same time, then you have to build the structure. You have to hire leadership.
Yes.
And you can still lead your leadership well.
Yes.
But right, you need that leadership that understands. And where I struggle is with a lot of these companies when you have 16 layers of middle management, right? That's, as an absentee owner, well, like right now, I mean, I have multiple businesses. I can't work them all.
Yeah.
There's just not enough hours in a day to work them all. So then you have to hire leadership. You have to hire good people. And you have 100%. To count on them. Yeah. And that's a letdown in a lot of cases. It really is.
It's hard to find good help and especially like for me, I take such pride in our customer service.
Well, nobody is going to run your business
as well as you will.
Nobody. No. No matter how much you pay, no matter what your benefits are, people can appreciate you.
Yeah.
They can like the business. They can have ambition for your business. Even the best employees, they're still not going to do it the way you would do it.
Never.
No. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not good employees out there.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want to sound like talking down to everybody that works for a living, but it'd be quite the opposite. I have nothing but respect for anybody that's willing to get out of bed, has an alarm clock, and is ready to get to work. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, you're your best advocate for your business.
You have to be, because again, like you said, a worker can be great.
Yeah.
But again, they don't have any skin in the game. They don't really have anything to lose because it's just like we said. It's like it's a job, right?
Right.
But to you, the business owner, this is your livelihood. This is how you make money, and so it's like you at the end of the day always have to bet on you,
right?
Because they can just leave, and then now you have to just step up again.
I'm a big baseball fan.
Okay.
And so we've had the Pete Rose. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You're young compared to. Pete Rose played it, decades ago.
Yeah.
But he was. Literally, he was a Babe Ruth type all-star.
Okay.
Just a fantastic all-around baseball player. He got caught betting on his games, and he got thrown out of the major leagues. Oof. And so it's been he was a guaranteed Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Guaranteed Hall of Famer. It'd be like saying Tiger Woods is going to make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But. And so the debate has been, and I've always joked, the debate was, does he really deserve a lifetime ban and he can't go into the Hall of Fame? It doesn't take away from his accomplishments on the field.
I can agree with that.
And, my joke was always like, well, I don't care if he bet on the game as long as he bet to win.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're on the Reds, because he played for the Cincinnati Reds, if you were on the Reds, you bet to lose. Yeah,
that looks a little fishy too. Because did you throw the game?
Right, because you're. Especially when you are that caliber of player, when you are literally a Michael Jordan on the team.
Yeah.
You have that control.
Yeah.
You have 100%. That ability to affect the outcome.
Yeah.
So as long as but it's like I think every major league sports, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, I think they should all bet as long as they're betting to win.
Betting on themselves.
Right.
It's no different than it's like every time. It's like you should always bet on yourself in whatever you do. So I agree with you. I don't see an issue with that whole betting, as long as you said it's betting to win. So it's not like, did you throw that game just for this parlay to hit? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, same thing. It's like I don't, and obviously there's more to it than that. It's like boxing.
Yeah.
So you bet to win. Did you pay the guy? Did you pay the other guy to throw it? Did you threaten his family?
The refs,
Whatever.
to buy off the refs, the judges.
If you're Kansas City Chiefs, but that's the thing. It's like if you're betting to win, and so in business, it's that way every day.
Yeah.
And I don't think Gary Vee, do you listen to him at all?
Not too much, no, but I've heard of Gary Vee.
He's a guy, he's vulgar. So he's not someone for your 9-year-old to listen to.
Yeah, of course.
But for us, he's got some great insight. And one of the things that he says that really struck me was he was doing a seminar, and asking for a question from the crowd. One of the guys in the crowd says, how do you know when you're hiring the right person? And he's like, I have no advice on hiring. He says, because we're all terrible at it. He says, myself included. He said, I'll give you advice on firing. Do it fast. Figure it out. Make your assessment and do it fast.
Yeah.
And he goes on to explain that as, we're all. It's like you're getting married after, just one date.
Yeah.
He says, you literally have a 20-minute interview with somebody. Maybe you have 2 or 3 20-minute interviews with somebody.
Yep.
And you are giving them a job.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend more time with that person. That person will spend more time at the job than they spend with their wife, their family.
Yep.
And he says, you're doing all that off of less than an hour of interaction.
Yeah.
So he said, none of us are good at hiring because anybody can look good in an hour.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But he said, what you've got to do is you've got to be able to assess how he does on the job or she does on the job and then be ready to fire him.
Yeah.
And he said, and I equate this, I said I wasn't going to get political because I'm quite conservative, but I equate this to politics. You look at, now I'm going to exclude Trump from this, not because I think he did something, great or terrible, but he did something way different than every other president in my lifetime. When a president appoints their cabinet, other than Trump, how many presidents have you seen that have cleaned house in their cabinet a year in or 6 months in or a year and a half in, and they just start firing people and replacing them in their cabinet? It literally never happens. I'm 54. I've never seen a president without some big scandal happening and someone stepping down where a president's gone, you suck at this job, you're out. We want somebody new. And of course, Trump took a lot of grief for that because he did that. It was like, I hired the wrong guy. Every president in my lifetime has hired the wrong guy and gal in every position. It was all the good old boy club. They all hired their friends, but they never fired anybody.
Yep.
And that really hit close to home because I'm thinking, he says, nobody wants to admit that they hired the wrong guy.
Yeah.
But none of us are. But it's easy to overcome that when you just realize none of us are good at hiring.
We're human.
Right.
We all make mistakes.
Right. And the hiring process is so flawed. We can't take 6 months to get to know somebody. If I'm going to hire you to manage one of my stores, I don't have 6 months to get to know you. You need a job. I need a manager. We need to sit down. Are you the guy or aren't you? Because if you're not, then I got to talk to that guy. I'm going to talk to him for 10 minutes and give him the job.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't have that courtship of of months to get to know each other.
Actually get to know each other, the nitty gritty, and to know if you're going to be a good fit.
Right. So it's like, you interview well. Let's see if you work well.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I got to be ready to go. You don't. You think there's something. Yep. There's a better fit for you somewhere else. It's just not here. You got to go.
And that's, if you don't mind, the other thing that I think is really cool, bringing back about the hiring and the firing, is that's another thing that I think people don't see when it comes to owning your own business or entrepreneurship is the people along the way that are going to doubt you,
right,
and the people that aren't going to back you up. So a little about me. I've been on my own since I was 17. So I grew up in
That's brutal.
I grew up in a split household. Lived with my mom most of the time. Very abusive household, mostly like mentally and emotionally.
Sure.
And that caused a lot of, from the time I was born to the time I was 17. And, in split homes, as a lot of people know, you get used as a weapon against your parents, So you're like, oh, hey, tell your dad this or tell your mom,
Yep.
And you kind of had that. And I remember when I was about to be kicked out, when I was kicked out of the house, I remember being told, you're not going to ever be able to make 6 figures without a college degree. Because I originally wanted to be, before I was kicked out, I was actually going to go to school to be a psychologist.
Oh, okay.
I love the human mind and how it works, and I wanted to help kids with divorced families, split homes, troubled homes, because I wanted to be there for them because I had no one. So I know what it's like to be alone and not growing up with the best circumstances, right? And being on my own at 17, that's a pretty, there's a lot of trial and error. And I remember being told, you're never going to make 6 figures without a college degree. You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to do anything. And just all this negative talk. And and that was when I decided to really cut my family off. And the reason why I say that is because it's the same with the hiring and the firing is people that we've known our entire life, you have to be, if need be, if they don't support your goals or your dreams or your ambitions, you have to cut them off because they're only going to hold you back. And I had for the longest time, I kind of had a hard time with that, letting go of people. But again, so I was 17, I was on my own. I didn't have any family really to rely on. And I was just trying to find my way, different odd end jobs. I did car detailing, sales, tow truck driving. Oh, wow. Okay, I did flatbed, so repo work. I did accidents as well, so I've seen some pretty crazy things there as well. Just trying to find my place in the world, and I went down the wrong path, obviously, as a lot of people can tend up to do. And I got to a point where I was right now, I'm proving them right. You know what I mean? Everything that they're saying that I'm going to do, I'm kind of proving them right now. Yeah. And my whole thing was, okay, watch me. Yeah. You say this about me, watch me do better, and you're not going to be here. Yep. And it's kind of the same thing when I went to start this business is I had my family that I just don't talk to anymore because I'm you guys just don't support it. Right. And then as I started my business, I was just getting really stressed at work, and I was being talked down on because I'm young. I'm 20. I was 23 at the time, 24, and I know I'm young, especially in the construction profession. Right. Having someone my age with my accomplishments.
It's ruled by old guys.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No, it 100% is, and there's definitely and me coming in with my experience and my accomplishments. Definitely doesn't work out too well. People don't really like it because you're a kid. What do you know? And so,
well, the hard part is if you have a good idea, and you're going to have good ideas, right? But these old guys have been doing it forever. Yeah, they don't want the young guy coming in and showing them that they could have been doing it better, because it's not just that for the young guys, or the guys with the ideas, right? It's a no-brainer. It's why wouldn't you do this? It's a better way. Yeah. Got to remember, the guys you're talking to have already been doing it for 30 years, and you're telling them what they hear is, you're an idiot. You could have been doing it better for the last 30 years.
It's an ego thing.
It is. It's very much an ego thing, because now this young guy that doesn't know anything, right, doesn't have any experience, well, you don't have the experience that they have. Yep. There's all kinds of things that they can teach you because they've experienced. Yeah. But when you come up with that new idea, all of a sudden, you're basically, you're telling them, well, you guys could have been doing this better for decades, and you didn't. Yeah. So step away. Here I am. Yeah. And that's how they see it. So it's a delicate, but that doesn't mean you don't bring the new ideas. If everyone was afraid to bring innovation, we wouldn't innovate.
We wouldn't be where we're at today with our technology, our medicine, or anything like that. And so it was just really stressful, and I found myself in the dumps, and I just didn't look forward to going to work. And I was really depressed. And I was I need to make a change. I'm I can't work for anyone else. I'm tired of not getting the credit. And so I had this idea. I'm doing all my research, and I'm really excited about this. And I bring it up to my family that I talked to, and they didn't really think it was going to go far. The ones that did own the businesses, they were oh, I don't like owning the business. You're probably not going to like it. If I could work a 9 to 5, I would work a 9 to 5. Just wait and see. You're not going to like it after so many years. And that constant just negative self-talk, and then whenever I'd bring it up, they would kind of just shut it down right away or just not entertain the idea. And for me, that was probably the hardest thing, is being you have people that are close to you, but they're not supporting you. Right. But how long can you hang on to that before you have to let them go? Because the longer you hang on, the harder it is to let go. And so for me, that's what I had to do, is I'm okay, as much as this is going to suck, you guys aren't supporting me in this direction, and with any of it, right? Financially, I'm 100%, this business was my own financial backing, 100%.
Good for you.
I basically saved up all my commission from sales, stored that into a savings account, and then lived off my salary, and then that savings account was the down payment for my loans.
Awesome.
But going through that, it was really hard. I mean, because people don't realize
who taught you that?
Myself.
Yourself?
Myself, yeah. It was very, I never really, I just kind of learned as I went.
Schools don't give it to you.
No,
I'm not going to get on my podium and talk about that either.
Yeah.
How our education system fails everybody.
I can agree that like what I know now is not because of school. It is from trial and error. It's from my actual job experiences as a salesman, as a manager. And people don't, like, you see all the time on these social media platforms. Like, I just saw a video the other day. This guy was like, hey guys, my name's so-and-so. I made my first million when I was 23. I'm 24, right? Yeah. He's like, I made my first million when I was 23. This is how you should do it. Like, you got to do this. And it's like, if you don't do this, then you're going to be behind. And it's like, no, that is not true. And that's what I really want to help with is you're not behind. If you're 19, 35, 50, whatever it is, there's always a time to start. You're not behind.
Right.
And what people don't see is there are the hard times. Like on social media, you see people flexing money on like yachts and like the sports cars, you know, and like, oh, like if you follow this, you'll have this life. That's not true.
Yeah, right.
It's the mentality of, okay, you're going to have late nights. And for me, it was, I'm staying up 2, 3 a.m., waking up by 6 a.m. And I'm doing this, trying to get everything ready, and knowing that I don't have the support. That like, okay, like, you know, I've got my friends. I have a really good core group of friends that were really supportive of it. But just growing up, I've been around negative people all my life telling me what I can and can't do, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. And opening this business was really nerve-wracking. I'm like, if I fail, I fail.
Right.
Like there's nothing, there's no safety net, there's nothing. And it's hard because you'll be doing...
There's no one to blame. I mean, it's at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a question, not to interrupt.
Yeah, no.
But, so Jack from Clear Difference Cleaners.
Yeah.
How long have you known Jack?
Not too long, actually. So me and him, I had seen some of his videos and that he had made, and they're really cool. And I was like, well, he does interior cleaning, and I do exterior cleaning. Yep. And so I actually had messaged him on Instagram and reached out, and I said, hey, man, like, I love what you do. I think it'd be really cool if we get together and kind of brainstorm off each other, how we can help each other, maybe make some videos, collabs, and so that's how we ended up getting to know each other.
Okay, I was just curious if you knew him before you started the business, but it was after.
No, it was after, yeah. I think I actually met him, like, a week ago, maybe 2 weeks. Like, whatever I sent you the thing is the first time, like, me and him sat down.
Gotcha.
And actually got to know each other.
All right. Because I was going to say, because I could see where he would be a very positive influence.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I didn't know how long you guys had known each other. Because, again, I haven't known him for that long either. But anyway, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
And no, you're good. And it's like those late nights of I'm working on my website, my CRM, my marketing, my advertising. I'm doing everything myself. It's a one-man show. Yeah. Which is very... And
you wear a lot of hats.
You wear a lot of hats. And ideally, the end goal is to not wear so many hats. But when you first start, you have to, right? You don't have the capital.
Right.
And it's those late nights, and it's like, oh, like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, and this sucks, but like knowing that you're doing it, even though you have no one supporting you, again, going back, you have to bet on yourself.
You have to bet on yourself.
And that's what it comes down to is that hiring and firing. Look at your people that don't support you, look at them as your employees. And if they're not helping your business or helping you grow in any way and they're hindering you, you got to let them go. Right. There's a quote that I really love. And I forget exactly how, so I'm going to like paraphrase it here.
Sure.
But it's, the entire quote is, if you're on a train and you realize you're at the wrong station, don't wait longer to get off. Yeah. Get off sooner or it's going to cost more to go back.
Yeah, it takes longer to get back.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And so doing this business, and I started getting it up and running, and the other thing I struggled with, again, growing up in a very abusive household, was asking for help. So anytime you ask for help, it was, oh, I'll help you, and then later it's used against you. Right. It was that give and take type of thing. Like, oh yeah, I'll help you, and then they're mad at you. Okay, I'm going to put you down and use this against you. Yeah. Or it's a lot of things like those, and so asking for help was one of my biggest weaknesses.
Sure.
Because I, again, had that chip on my shoulder where I was like, watch it. I'm going to make this 6 figures by myself, but that was the issue, was by myself. Yeah. And as I started getting my business, I was like, I can't do this by myself.
No, the world's a big place.
The world's such a big place.
Yeah, and there's so much out there to take advantage of, right?
And
to be part of.
This is probably around, I'd say this is around like the February area time frame. And I started going to like BNI and like Master Networks and the Chamber of Commerce and really kind of like networking with people and getting to know people. And the amount of support that I had just reaching out from the community has been insane. Like I had a vision, like I said, I think like we said, the loan was like $40,000. Yeah. My family looked at me weird and they were like, why would you spend this much on equipment? Because like I said, probably about 70% of that loan's equipment for pricing.
Sure. Yeah, because I could have went to Home Depot and bought something for $2.99.
Yeah. You know, and so the equipment, it's state of the art. It's really nice. But they would doubt. They're like, oh, like they didn't have the vision that I had in my head. They're like, why are you going to spend this much money on this equipment if it's not going to go far? Like all these like what ifs. Like what if you don't do good? What if you fail this and that? And on the other end, I'm like, what if I do? When I do it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I had this vision, I had this plan of how to execute the marketing and the networking. And now to see it, we're 7 months into the business of actually like starting, I think. And the amount of support that I've gotten from just the community of like Rochester and surrounding areas has been tremendously insane. I mean, what I had envisioned for my business, it's surreal to see it come to life that I took the chance to step out and ask for help. Like, hey guys, like, and it's not even like people, I'm new to owning my own business, right?
Sure, yeah.
There are people out there like you who have so much insight on what I should do, what I can't do. And so I was always a big fan of, if you were my age, what would you do? You know, like if you could start over again at my age, like what would you do differently? And like I was reaching out to people, and now like on my social media, the support from the community is insane. People, I'm able to give back to the community, make an appearance, you know, and make it better. And then at the same time, I mean, the comments that I get and like people seeing me out in public and all the support of like, hey, you're doing great. We love what you do. It's so fulfilling knowing that I'm making that difference. And it's crazy that, again, people you've known your whole life won't support you, but people you just meet want to see you succeed without asking anything in return. And that's another thing is, but I didn't start to see that until I took that leap of the people that didn't support me and kind of just letting them go.
Right.
And having to then open my circle.
Well, and like one of my companies, SBR Group, so Small Business Referral Group.
Yep.
One of my favorite quotes, that sounds arrogant now. I guess I didn't mean to say it that way. It's my quote, right? And it's one of my favorites not to say to people, right? I tell everybody, it's like, you know, success is awesome. Yeah. Even when it's not yours.
Yes.
Even when it's not yours. Sometimes especially when it's not yours.
Yes.
You know, embrace that and help people and congratulate them and let them know that you see sometimes success isn't always about the paycheck. It's not always about the car, the you know, the cool guy stuff.
Yes.
It's about the fact that someone walked by and went, look at you.
Yeah.
Look at the effort you're putting in. Look at you. Hold your head up, dude.
Being seen.
Right. It's like people actually, you know, they see Isaiah and they just know that they see the confidence and they see the effort that you're putting in. Yeah. And okay, you know, it's 7 months in. You probably haven't hit 6 figures yet. Okay, well that's not the goal at this point.
No.
You know,
not at
the
all.
goal, like you said earlier, you're never going to make 6 figures. The goal is to say, yeah, I am.
Yeah, I am.
Right?
Yeah.
But you know, you've got to start somewhere.
Yes.
And you start with, you know, I mean, goals. Okay,
Yes.
so making 6 figures, that's a goal.
Yep.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to say that's a target, right?
I can say that, yeah. I can agree. That's a target.
Yeah,
I agree.
The goal is to put in the work.
Yes.
And to be seen.
Yes.
And to be seen positively.
Yes.
And that being seen positively comes back to put in the work.
Yes.
Right?
You have to bet on yourself.
You have to bet on yourself.
Yes.
And when you do, that's the goal. The goals should be when you're, and again, now I'm like paranoid I keep saying you're young, and I'm not picking on your age.
I get it. Yeah.
Your business is 7 months old.
Yeah.
It's a young business. I mean, you know, you look at SBR. SBR is going to be a year old at the end of this month.
Yeah.
So it's a young business also.
100%, yeah.
You know, but when you have a young business like that, the real key is to be seen positively.
Yes.
You know,
build that foundation, build that trust, build that rapport, build that customer relations. And I think that's where a lot of people, or at least a lot of businesses I see that don't succeed, is for me, when I was doing sales, for me, I always want the relationship to go far beyond a point of sale.
Right.
For me, it's not just transactional. It's not like, oh, hey, I'm going to clean your house. Okay, cool. Have a great day and leave.
Yeah. It's clean. I'm done.
Yeah, bye.
Pay me. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like that. I don't like transactional relationships. I think life is too short, and I love meeting new people. I love knowing their stories, and like, the reason what really got me is I was at the Minnesota's largest candy store one day.
Oh, yep.
And I was doing something, you know, and as I was leaving, there's a lot of people. It's a Saturday. And as I'm leaving, a homeowner that I had worked with his family, and they're like, hey, Isaiah. And I turned around, and it was the homeowner. And they sat and they talked to me outside. Yeah. And we talked for like 10 minutes. And for me, that's rewarding because it's like awesome. Like that went beyond a point of sale.
Yeah.
And like you don't just see me as someone who did your cleaning, you know, like you
Yeah,
can
there's
consider...
a guy that washed her house.
Yeah.
And then
just leave,
yeah,
you know?
And then just look over here. It's like not even a hi or hello.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
I love those personal relationships with people that I make when it's, I go to your door. I'm not just there to have your money and clean your house. I'm there because I want this to be, if any way, either if I can benefit you in the future, or if you're able to benefit me in the future. Either way, like we can help each other and just grow. And that's what I love.
So I'm gonna argue a little bit with something you said earlier now, and it's a good thing. You said, like, you know, where people talk about, well, you know, he's $1 million at 24, 23, whatever, so you're behind, or he's behind, or this guy's behind. You know, you're not behind because you're betting on you.
Yes.
That means you're competing against you.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, I'm not competing against you. You're not competing against me. That's not how it works.
Yep.
Where I would argue with that is, you said something about when you see the old guys with experience and you ask them, what would you do different?
Yeah.
Okay. You are ahead of most, because if I could go back to your age, if I could go back to my early 20s and change anything, I'll be honest, I wouldn't change a lot. But the one thing I would change my focus a little bit from working so hard that I did, which that has paid off for sure.
Of course.
I would have found time to put more effort towards networking, towards meeting more people, towards building more relationships. You've already figured that out at 24. I didn't figure that out till I was closer to probably 30 or 30, between 30 and 35.
Yeah.
When we started SBR Group, that's the whole goal there. You know, I was in BNI for over 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay,
You know, and it was very good for me. Very good organization. I didn't care for some of the changes that they made in the last, you know, year or so that I was there. So like 2-3 years ago. And I really thought it, and this isn't not bashing BNI at all, but BNI as a business, they've evolved. And when my analogy was, you know, I've got a good friend of mine that's an electrician. And I said, when you started your business, right, and the guy called you and he had a $500,000 house, wanted something done, you went and did it. He's like, well, absolutely. I'm like, then I said, grandma calls, living in her trailer, which is a nightmare for electricians because it's different.
The
right?
crawl space.
Right, crawl spaces, and the box are smaller. Everything's different. It's unique, right? But I said, when that gal calls and she needs a new ceiling fan put in or a new light switch or whatever, I said, you went and did it. He goes, you're damn right I did. I'm like, all right, you've been doing this for like 20 years now. I said, when that $1.2 million house, let's go with inflation, right? That $1.2 million house calls, you go fix it. He goes, yep. I'm like, when grandma calls on her, well, we really, I feel like I should regret that or be embarrassed by this, but we really don't do that anymore because it's just not in our wheelhouse. I'm like, right, because your business has evolved.
It's expanded.
Right, and that doesn't mean to say that you don't like people that live in trailer houses. That's, you know, in a trailer park. That's not it at all. It's not about that. It's that it's different. When you're young in business, you do whatever it takes. When you're older in business, you start streamlining what you do, and you stay with what you know. You stay with what's more profitable. You whatever you know, whatever your parameters are, they narrow because you've got a bigger client base. And unless you're just going to hire 67 more guys, you know, you can't take care of everybody. So you start cutting things out. And so that's part of this is as you get older. And with BNI kind of did that same thing. They jacked their price. They've over doubled their price.
The price is steep, especially for like small businesses just starting. The price for me to invest was insane.
And you that small business getting started, you are that trailer park job. That's what it is. And BNI has evolved past it. Now, their district, regional reps, whatever, they just hammer everybody to be a better member and invite more members because with the price increase, they have lost some of their crowd. They're not making any less money because obviously if you double your price, you need half the clients to make the same amount of money. Because again, in BNI, they're not buying chemicals. They have expenses, not to say that it's an expense-free business.
But
they're not reselling anything. You know, and the members pay for the room, the members pay for the coffee, the members do all the work, the members, you know, and they went to the point of taking away you know, the free memberships while you were a leadership person, when you were running the meetings and actually working for BNI, you were you didn't get paid, but you didn't have to pay a dues.
Okay, yeah.
Well, they took that all away during COVID. Now, I've been gone for a while, so, they may have brought that back.
I don't think
right?
so. I just joined, I think, a month and a half ago
for
BNI, but I ended up, I was a sub for a lot of people.
Yep.
So I met some few people that really kind of just said, hey, come to our BNI group,
Yeah.
And I would sub for them occasionally, and I started to like it, and then, again, it was that price point. Like, I really wanted to join, but for what they were expecting, I'm like, I don't have the capital for it as a small business. Like, I have other things I need to invest in.
Right. And that's why we started SBR, because we're literally less than half the money with the same style of help for the business as far as what you can do.
Yeah.
Where we differ a bunch is we call it our priority shift. Mm-hmm. Our educational moments are actually educating you on all the hats you wear.
Yeah.
And
I like
really trying to help you with that. We don't beg you to bring more members. Mm-hmm. My thought is, and I tell everybody this right up front, it's like, especially those that have experience in other networking groups.
Yeah.
I don't mean to just pick on BNI, but other networking groups.
Yeah, of course.
They're all very, their education time, when they bring in outside speakers, they're outside your group, but they're people from within their organization to talk about how you can be a better member and how you can bring more money to us as the organization. And it's like, you're paying me. You're paying the organization.
Yeah.
We should be talking about how we can better you.
Yes.
Obviously, referrals and networking is a big part of that, but also the education. We talk about payroll. We talk about marketing. We talk about, AI. We talk about all the things, all the hats that you have to wear, because we even I did a presentation on all the hats you have to wear. Mm-hmm. How do you determine how much time gets spent with each individual hat on?
That's a tough thing to figure out.
You're damn right it is.
There's not even I don't think it's wrong to say this. There's not a formula for it.
No.
There is no formula whatsoever. It's literally like if someone were to ask me like, what is it?
No.
I can't give you any advice. It's literally just trial and error.
Right.
And you really have to be in tune with your body. Like you have to make sure your mental health, you have to take care of that. And that's not something that is also seen is the mental toll that it can have on you. And so you've got to make sure that you take care of that, because wearing all those hats can be exhausting, like spending too much time on marketing but not the work, or spending too much time on like the actual job and not advertising. Okay, well now you're not getting the business, and it's just
that's it.
It's a lot.
So that's with SBR, that's a big part of what we do, is to make sure that you are getting your value in the membership before you see a referral.
Yeah.
And if you get a referral, which when it's going to happen, you're going to get tons of referrals.
Yep.
But that's all what people join for. After a few months in the group and getting to build the relationships and getting to know people, expanding your network, you really start to realize that the value isn't in the referrals. The referrals, the bonus.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what you paid for.
Because knowledge is power.
Right. And when you show people that, it's a much better business model, in my opinion. And I'm really proud. We've got 4 chapters in Rochester right now. We have 2 that just opened in Owatonna.
Wow.
And we're not even a year old.
Good for you. That's really good.
Yeah,
good.
I'm really excited about this. But, to be fair, now, when I was 34, 20 years ago, I could not have started SBR. I didn't have the network to get it started, to get the people excited.
Yep.
I could have started it, but I had to borrow a ridiculous amount of money and spend money marketing it to get people to know.
Yep.
Fast forward to, I'm in my early 50s. We have this idea. I make a few phone calls.
Yep. Yeah.
People get excited about it.
Yep.
Then it's like, okay, so now we lay out groundwork.
Yep.
I get some guys involved. We raise a little capital.
Yep.
We haven't borrowed a dime.
Yep.
All of a sudden, now I make a few more phone calls. Mm-hmm. We had, almost 90 people at our meet and greet in Rochester. We signed up. Now, if you're going to have a free meal, right, and you've got an open bar or a cash bar, I should say, you've got a free meal, and it's just all my friends bringing in all these entrepreneurs that I know saying, come listen to what I have to say.
Yeah.
We had 44 people sign up that night. Matter of fact, we had one of the, I don't even know what her title is, regional director or something for BNI. She showed up to kind of spy on us, and she got mad halfway through because I kept throwing BNI under the bus just because she was there, and it was really annoying that she would come to do something like that. But it's like, she wasn't being a nice person about it, which was very frustrating.
Of
and
course.
And so we didn't name names, obviously, but it was just a matter of, this is the networking group I was in. This is how they approach it. This is our solution for that. And one thing I like to say a lot of times when I compare, it's like, the company as a whole, great company.
Yeah.
What they do for businesses, for the most part, is very good.
I would say it's been very beneficial for me, and like
it'll be great for you.
And it's more of like my group, like the group that I'm in. Like there's BNI, and then you have like your chapters, right?
Yep.
And the chapter that I'm in, I love. That's the only reason I really joined. Is I love the chapter that I'm in. Everyone that's in there, I started, and they have helped me grow so much. Like to the point where like words can't even describe how grateful I am for. Yep. I mean, and that's not to clue out like everyone else, but like the BNI group, since we're on that target, is they have just helped so much, whether it was kind of steer me in the right direction.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
You know, and it's sad that it's, $900 a year to do that now.
It's more like 12.
Oh, it's up to 12
So
now?
if it's your first year.
Well, your first year you pay $299.
For whatever, and then like and then it's, so I think I ended up paying like $1,200, something like that.
Yeah, for us, when we just opened Owatonna, and a charter membership is $398 for your first year, $299 a year after that.
Okay.
And we have a very similar structure.
Yeah.
So it's very beneficial for folks. A regular membership costs you $498 for the first year.
Yep.
Once you've missed that charter membership, the startup phase, then it's $498 for the first year.
Yeah.
$399 a year after that.
And then
so a little different.
Yeah, and you get your guys' price is close to like I joined the chamber as well.
Yep.
The Rochester Chamber Area of Commerce, and that has been I've met so many amazing people just from like the aftermarket hours, and not even so much like for the business, but like the people that I've met there, no matter what it was, they all now I can consider they're really good friends of mine. And again, going back to, they are so supportive. But
you're a good man, and I mean, you get out of it what you put into it.
Yes.
That's
a big thing. Is that mindset? You got to bet on yourself, and again, it's that whole thing of how you look. Do you look professional? Like back to the CRMs. How do you hold yourself? How do you carry yourself? Do you know what you're talking about? You know?
So not everybody that's going to watch this is going to be an entrepreneur. What's CRM? The customer retention management. Right. So when we throw those little acronyms out there, don't be afraid.
I forget that sometimes that people are like, or some people aren't in sales,
right?
Because that's CRMs is a big it's a sales thing.
Yep.
And people don't get that. So basically what the CRM is anything that you use to send out estimates, send out like referrals, emails, anything that tracks your sales and like sends it out for you.
Yep, and customer follow-up, right, to make sure that, customer retention, right. But the big thing, like you said, I don't want to just come and do your service and then never see you again. I want you to be a regular customer. Mm-hmm. I want to get to know you. I want to say hi when I'm at the grocery store, right? I want to catch up.
Tell me about your family. Tell me how your weekend was. How has it been the last couple of months? Talk to me. That's what I want.
Yep, and that's just it. And when you have that relationship with people, and like in your networking group, when you get that relationship with the networking group, they think of you.
Yes,
you're top of mind, and and they like you, and that's a big part of it. And you want to help people at the end of the day.
That's what it all comes down to. And like going back to like seeing other people succeed, like we talked a little before this aired. Like my goal is like coming on here wasn't even to like really. I mean, it was to talk about my business, but like more so to help other people who. Whether they're 19, 20, or they're like 30, 40 or older, and they just think, like I haven't been like, the odds aren't in my favor, the odds are stacked against me, I don't know where to start. That's why I want to come on here and be like, you know what, I've had the same thing. I was on my own since I was 17. I basically did all this from scratch. I've kind of been through similar things, and it is possible. It's that mindset, and it's how bad do you want it?
Right.
That's what it really comes down to. And that's what I want to be able to is just help other people. Because, again, that makes me feel better than anything else that comes with it. One
of the things that my wife always says this, and it always makes me laugh. But she's like, well, I want to.
Yeah.
And I always kind of laugh. And I'm like, and that's, that's the truth with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They want to do everything.
Yes.
But they don't want to do everything.
Yeah.
And they don't make time for everything.
Yeah.
And like that's I said earlier when I was talking about if I had advice for anybody or what I would have done if I could go back. Mm-hmm. What advice would I have for myself 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Is not to replace something I was doing with networking, with building my network.
Yep.
Find time.
Yes.
Right? Don't tell me that you don't have time. Now, you and I are different generations.
Yep.
So you talk about mental health,
yep.
right? And I understand mental health,
yeah.
and I appreciate that,
yep.
and and you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But like I look at my dad.
Yep.
Okay. Tough as nails.
Yep.
I mean, when he was alive, but I was adopted by my grandparents.
Okay.
So my dad was actually my grandpa. So
okay,
there's a 2 generations. And so that's where I grew up. So I kind of feel like I'm even maybe 2 generations away from you.
That would make sense.
Even though age-wise I'm not.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, you cut the end of your pinky off. Well, wrap it up, finish your day, and go deal with it.
Yeah.
That's just that. The world doesn't stop because you got an owie.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, and the difference between you and me and my dad, it's the size of the injury before you go in, right? Or before you stop your day
100%,
and go do something. And so, and I'm not saying that's right.
Oh yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But we come from. You can say, well, you're tougher. Okay, well, are you really tougher, or are you just more stubborn?
And I grew up, so the work ethic is a big thing. I will say, like, that's not, and like a lot of my friends that I have now, they're 30 plus.
Sure.
Like, I don't get a lot, like, you know what I mean? Because they just, the way I talk and how we can talk and how we conversate, I can relate more with, like, older people.
Yep.
But, like, I grew up very hardworking. Like, I'll give credit to, like, my dad and my grandpa. They really instilled that work ethic into me. And, like, I was either always, like, cutting wood on the farm with them, you know. I was out there chopping wood. I was out helping the family business.
Well, at 24, and you're almost a year into your own business, you don't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
We know that. We know that about you, even though I don't know you. That because you'd be doing something else already.
Yeah, and so but what I was getting at with, like, with the work ethic is, like, I still have the work ethic, and, like, I was the same way. Where it was like, oh, you get a cut on your leg, or you do that. It's the, okay, we're going to continue, and then you go, like, when the day's done, or just put some tape on it, rub some dirt on it, you know what I mean? Rub some dirt on it, and you're good to go.
That's the famous line, rub some dirt on it, it'll be fine.
And so, like, and I kind of, like, I work really hard for it, but at the same time I notice it's that making time, and it's like, you don't want to push yourself to the point of exhaustion or being burnt out.
Right.
And that's where for me, that's where the mental health comes in, because it's like, like, if you don't show up, like you said, no one's there to pay your bills. You have to bet on yourself.
Right.
At the same time, you have to be able to manage your time correctly. You have to be able to make time for marketing, make time for the job. It's not, you're working damn near 7 days a week. Whether, if you're not even doing the physical labor aspect of it, the networking. And it's like, but you also have to make sure to take time for yourself and be like, okay, just take a personal day, and be like, okay, like, I'm still going to do some things, but, like, I need to refocus on myself so I don't get burned out. And I think that's what happens a lot of times is people are very ambitious and they grow too big too fast, or they're like, okay, I'm going to do all this, and then they forget to, like, slam on the brakes a little bit, and then they're burnt out within, like, the first year and a half.
What I see is, especially in young entrepreneurs, they build the business and they're busting their ass. I have a friend of mine that's in concrete business, and he works like a dog. When he gets old, and now, what I tell folks, like, you're right, there's no formula for how much time you spend with each of the different hats. But the formula you can, which is different for all of us, how many hats do you wear? And you figure that out, right? Because I'm my own accountant, I'm my own bookkeeper, which goes hand in hand. I'm my own marketing guy, right? Social media, that's part of marketing, but it's still another job. It's still another job. And then, of course, let's not forget you have the job. Someone's got to watch,
actual physical
right?
work.
You actually physically go out and do the job, right? And so, which one of those hats do you like the least? And you decide what hat that is. Now, when you get that first paycheck, well, not first paycheck, but once you're making money, okay? And so do you go out and buy a brand new van for the business if you don't need it? Do you go out and buy that Corvette or that Challenger or that, whatever?
Money management,
Right. Or rather than buying some cool guy stuff and showing the world that you've made it, right? Get that chip off your shoulder a little bit, right? Do we go and look at, the bookkeeping accounting hat is my least favorite. I should hire an accountant. I should find a bookkeeper. I should find a service. Go see what's out there. Or do I look at, is QuickBooks, if I have something structured like QuickBooks and I learn it, don't just buy it, but like you said, you take a class, whatever, is that enough? Can I manage, if I have QuickBooks or I have a management accounting management software like that, is that enough? Does that make this hat more palatable without spending a ton of money? If it doesn't, well, now I got to hire a bookkeeper. Can I afford a full-time person? Probably not yet. Can I afford a service that's going to give me 6 hours a week? Okay, but so the Corvette waits a little longer. The boat, the whatever.
It's
right.
What
the
is
snowmobiles.
We have it. So I train martial arts. I've trained martial arts for like 9 years, and
that's where a lot of your discipline comes from. Then.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes a little more sense now. I should have picked up on that when you said you had the injury.
Yeah,
martial arts injury.
I've done. I've trained. I wrestled in high school. I did jiu-jitsu. I did some boxing and kickboxing, and now I currently train Muay Thai and Hapkido.
Okay.
But that's where a lot of it's you have to, like, when you're cutting for a fight or you're trying to drop weight or make weight, it's, ooh, this Twinkie looks really good, or like, ooh, I want this donut, and everyone around you eating, but you have to postpone that short-term gratification for that long-term.
Right.
And that goes back to the money, like, oh, you get your first, like, big check, and you're like, oh, let's go out to the club, or this,
right.
And it's like, no, that's how you're going to blow it. It's like, reinvest that into your company.
Right.
And like, for me, what I think, at least I can say I feel like I do differently than a lot of other entrepreneurs that started, is I hired an accountant actually right away. Because I knew bookkeeping, I knew I wouldn't like it. And I know people who spend like 2-3 days trying to keep their books in order every month, and it's stressful. Yeah. Well, for me, I'm looking at it where I'm like, okay, if I take these 2 to 3 days that I could be stressing over bookwork, if I hire an accountant who can do it for me, then those 2 to 3 days I can work, and I can make that money
revenue.
back.
Yep.
And so to me, that was my insight. And honestly, I think that was one of the best things I ever did, was find an accountant I found trustworthy. I got QuickBooks. I love it.
Yep.
It makes it so easy to keep track of my receipts, because tax write-offs, everything's a tax write-off.
Yeah, right.
Keeping track of those. But then she just calls me. We have our monthly meetings. She sends me my sales tax, how much I owe on that. And we talk, and it has made owning the business so much less stressful.
Right.
Because I love the marketing, the networking, the doing the work, not the accounting. Though.
Right.
And that was something I'm glad I invested in and planned on investing in, because that really has saved me a lot of time.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, that's my degree's in accounting. So that's,
is it? Okay.
Yeah, so that's I'm the opposite of that. It's like, that's what I'd rather do.
Yeah, yeah.
But I get it. Most people don't. It's the opposite for most people. And but yeah, so I think that's an important piece is, it's cool that it's like, say, the Corvette, the jet skis, the snowmobiles, they're cool. There's no question. But they're cooler when you can really afford
them. And you're not going broke, your first big
house
paycheck.
poor. All of a sudden you get that first big house and your house poor because every dime goes into it. It's like, just settle down.
Exactly.
It'll come. Be patient.
I think my first big check that I got when I was doing a commercial building for Windows, I think I ended up just reinvesting it into the business. I actually
in the beginning, right? I mean, like you said, you bought equipment, then you realized.
I invested into a wrap. Okay. So I wrapped my van and I did that, and that was one of the best things I ever did. So like, any money I make, I automatically throw it right back into the business. Yep. Whether it's paying stuff off, how can I improve this? I'm not going out and like, hey guys, let's all go out to let's go get jet skis or let's do this. I'm like, I reinvested, and I even tell people, I'm like, hey, again, that short-term gratification. I'm like, I can't do this right now because this is what I have to do. And so
I'm working towards.
It's really being able, again, betting on yourself, but also standing up for yourself and being able to say no.
Right.
And that self-control.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap things up, it's been a little over an hour here. Let's. Anything else you want to touch base on?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing before I leave is for anyone listening to this podcast or watching, if there's anything they can take away, is don't be afraid to take that step, because everyone always wonders well, what if I fail? That's always a what if, and it's but what if you succeed? But again, what if you fail at starting your own business? You're right back where you were in the beginning. You're working your 9 to 5, so you're right back where it is. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right.
That is the biggest key I want to give, is don't be afraid to reach out, ask for help, ask for advice, ask for a mentor, whatever it is, reach out and just go. And the other thing is, don't try to do everything all at once. Try to find a direction to just start and go. Because a lot of people get so overwhelmed with this idea of I need this. And it's like, pick one thing and just start from there. It's like planting a seed, You start with the seed, the roots grow. You don't eat the fruit right away when you grow the plant.
Yeah. You don't when you plant the tree, you don't have shade tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the other thing too, is no matter what your background is, and obviously some have it harder than others and some are easier than others, but don't let that define you, right? Like we talked about in the beginning, looking back at the past.
Yep.
And people say, oh, don't look at the back of the past. It's like, look back, but look at it as a learning and as like a growth. Use it to push you forward and not as a hindrance.
Be inspired by the positive things you've had and learn from the negative things you've had.
Yeah.
Nothing is there to stop you from going forward.
Yeah.
Everything behind you has led to who you are today.
100%, yes. And you can't forget that.
Yeah, you can't forget that. And yeah, do we have negative things in our past? All of us do.
All
if you don't, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, don't look at them as negatives. Look at them as, what did I learn from it? Because again, when you get it right the first time,
you don't learn anything.
You'll learn anything.
No, not at all.
All those struggles, all those problems that we bitch about every day, you'll learn something from all of them. And if you didn't, you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. I mean, bottom line, right?
Like, I've had my issues. Like, I was cleaning the Park Place, BMW. We were cleaning their windows and the exterior. And it was my first time doing a big job like that. And I definitely underestimated the time of it.
Sure.
Like, I think I started at like 2 p.m. I didn't get done till midnight.
Oh, my God.
Cleaning windows, cleaning the side. Because they had an inspection, so we wanted to make sure it was right. And it was so stressful. I was lucky that I had people come out and help me with it because I was over my head. And I actually made a video on it, and I posted on social media. And I said, hey, guys, I'm here at this place. I started at 2 p.m. It's currently 11:30, and I'm not done. This is the side of business people don't show you. No. So when you start it, you have to be ready to put in. You
could have left at 5.
I could have. And just left it piss poor job, you know. Right. But again, because I want it to be satisfied. I want them to feel good about it.
Right.
And you're going to have to put in those late hours and those long nights. And there's going to be nights where you don't get a lot of sleep.
Right.
And there's nights where you're not going to be able to go party with your friends all the time. You're not going to be able to go hang out with your friends. You're going to have to stay home, work on the business. But again, no matter where you come from, as long as you believe in yourself and you're like, I can do this, I know it, and you bet on yourself, take that leap and really go for it. But again, make sure you do your research.
Right.
And I'm a big advocate on my social media. I like to post things to help inspire people,
sure,
whether it's like positive quotes or things like that. But I also post, like, if anyone ever needs anything, my DMs are always open to help. Like, if you're stuck on something, or not, even if it's not even business related,
sure,
just personal growth that you need to get over, reach out and ask for help. I'm there, and I've been through the similar things. And so, like, I would love to help people. And it's the biggest thing is, don't compare yourself to others. You're going to see it on TikTok, Instagram, all these social medias. Like, oh, I'm 23, I made $1 million, like, if you don't do this, it's you against you.
Right, it's you versus you.
It's you versus you.
That's exactly
everyone's circumstances are different. Everyone's background is different. How we think, how we talk.
And if you use social media as your guide, there's two kinds of people on social media.
Yeah.
The people that only post the glitz and the glamour, the great things that happen to them. Well, you can't compare to that because that's not reality.
Nope.
But then you've got the other ones that only post the doom and gloom.
Yeah.
And you don't want to compare to that.
No.
I mean, so you know what I'm talking about. We all go with those friends that every other day it's FML this.
Yeah.
This happened. Oh, poor me.
Yep.
Or they put something vague out there just fishing for all the, oh, honey, what's the matter? What's wrong? What can,
Yeah, what can we do for you? Oh, like there's a big one. I remember when I was in middle school, if we're really gonna, that was a big thing. That was like, you'd post on your Snapchat, you'd like take your phone, you take like a black screen or something, or like a hospital wristband, and you'd be like, if you know, you know. And that was like to get the attention of people.
Right, to get the attention.
Yeah.
And it's like, and neither one of those are things that we need to waste our time with.
No.
Neither one.
No. And that's why, like, I like to show both sides.
Yeah.
I like to show, like, hey, like, this is like how, like, this is what it can look like.
Yeah.
But here is also, there is dark and gloomy. Like, there's these long nights. There are times when you're literally going to be doubting yourself. Am I made out for this? Am I cut out for this?
Right. Well, like I said, that's the best day, the worst day.
Yes,
that's,
yes.
And there's a lot of days in between and before and after, you know. So, well, before we end, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah. So there's a few different ways. We use Facebook a lot for social media. Just type in Syverson Pressure Washing. Our Instagram is Syverson Pressure Washing.
Syverson is not spelled in the typical way, though. I saw it's S-Y.
Yep.
V-E-R-S-O-N.
Yep.
So let's make sure we get that right.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I forget sometimes. Yeah, it's a S-Y-V-E-R-S-O-N Pressure Washing. And then you can also check us out on our website as well. But Facebook and Instagram are our main ones that we post a lot on.
Awesome. So that's and they've got the business cards are out. There's a QR code on the back, so we can use that. But so one of the things I like about the podcast, and we're able to do it right here in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, the studio's in Stewartville. And where are you from?
Rochester.
You live in Rochester.
Yep.
Okay. So the people that are watching this, you spend a little time, hour and 24 minutes so far. So we got a good long podcast. But people will feel like they get to know you, and when they meet you, you're who you are. There's no characters here. Stuff like that. This is just genuine people having conversation.
100%.
So I'm excited to hear updates. So when after you've been doing this for a while again, come back again.
I would love to come back if you'd have me after a couple of years.
Well, maybe we'll get Jack in here.
Yeah.
Get a couple of you guys in.
That'd be perfect. Yeah, some young entrepreneurs, and we just all kind of talk and. Talk about
share some stories with the old guy.
And then hear some stories from you too. Some of your horror stories that you have.
Tell you, there's some entertaining ones out there, that's for sure. And I'm not one, I couldn't care less if I get embarrassed. So I can share those too. There's some good ones out there. But anyway, Isaiah, thanks so much for coming out tonight. It was great to meet you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, guys. Syverson pressure washing. Here is put it up there real quick. There's a QR code on the back. So feel free to click on that. Give you some time. Awesome. Isaiah, we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you.